So you've heard the negative statistic that over 80% of people that lose weight end up gaining it all back and then some, and you don't want to be part of that statistic. Unfortunately, most people that do drop a few pounds end up gaining it all back, but that isn't you. In today's video, we're going to be sharing a number of tips and strategies that you can use to make this be the last time you ever have to lose weight in your life. It's time for your mentoring appointment. Come on in. For a lot of years, I struggled with my weight. In fact, this is what I looked like just a few short months ago. I reached my absolute heaviest weight of 251 pounds at the beginning of 2018 because for a long time, I was in that fluctuation game. I had tried for so many years to get to my ideal body weight, and I did a couple of times, but it never seemed to stick. So what's the difference between someone that ends up dropping the weight permanently and someone that simply ends up a statistic? First, let's take a look at the three main levels of growth. The first one is knowing. Most people know how to lose weight. Most people know that, yeah, there's going to be some diet and exercise involved. They're going to have to consume less calories and maybe start moving their bodies more. Unfortunately, most people settle for simply knowing. A person that simply learns and knows doesn't actually make any type of change in their life. The next level is what we call doing. This is where a person actually implements the different strategies that they've learned. A lot of people spend a lot of money hiring personal trainers and investing in coaching programs, and that's wonderful. They learn about these different tips and strategies, they begin to implement them, and they see some results on the scale. But what happens from there? What happens that causes a person who is actually making progress to then gain the weight back? It's because a lot of people simply do, but they don't actually become. You don't want to simply lose weight. You want to actually become that healthy, fit, slim person. There's a major difference between someone that simply is losing weight and someone that is becoming a totally transformed person. One of my personal mentoring clients is actually one of those people. Earlier in his life, he lost over 70 pounds, going from a very heavy body weight to a very healthy body weight. And he's kept it off ever since. He didn't just do certain things, he actually became that healthy, slim person. And he's been to my house a number of times for lunch and for dinner, and there have been a number of occasions when I've tried to sneak him a cookie or try to wave a piece of cake in front of his mouth, and he will not budge. He has made a decision to make his results permanent. And so, strategy number one, don't just settle for knowing, don't just settle for doing, but make sure you are focusing on becoming. Now, even with all of that, most people make the mistake of only focusing on one of what we call the three pillars of growth: body, mind, and soul. Most people that want to lose weight simply focus on the body category. They say, well, you gotta diet and exercise. Okay, well, duh, right? Of course, your nutrition and your exercise is going to be a big part of the process, but unfortunately, most people only stick with that. And for a lot of people, possibly even yourself, this may not even be the cause of why there's extra body fat on you in the first place. Have you ever met someone that actually eats a pretty healthy diet and actually exercises quite regularly, yet they still can't seem to lose any amount of body fat no matter how hard they try? It's likely because they're only focusing on that one pillar, without realizing that there is very much a mind and a soul pillar. Body, mind, and soul. For a lot of people, what's actually causing the extra weight in the first place has to do with something in here, their mindset. A lot of people actually fear releasing weight. And let me give you an example. I hit one of the biggest plateaus during my own journey at 215 pounds. For whatever reason, I kept hitting up against 215 pounds over and over again, and I could not get under that weight. It wasn't until I did some mindset work that I realized why I was holding onto that weight in the first place. I realized that the last time I had been under 215 pounds was when I had actually been homeless. I lost absolutely everything, and so subconsciously I had this fear that if I dropped underneath that weight again, I'd lose everything and then some. And so as a protection mechanism, my body was holding onto that extra weight. Let me give you another example. There was a gal named Rachel who had actually been very, very thin growing up. She'd been a cheerleader. Unfortunately, she got into an abusive relationship, and after she got out, she ended up gaining a significant amount of weight as a subconscious way to protect her. Subconsciously, she believed that if she was heavier, guys that might potentially abuse her wouldn't notice her, and therefore she would be more protected. She tried every diet under the sun, and she always dropped 5 or 10 pounds, but then the weight, you guessed it, always came right back on very, very quickly. It wasn't until she identified and healed this emotional soul wound, if you will, that her body had no more reason to hang on to that extra body fat. Once she identified and healed that root cause of why she had the extra body fat in the first place, within 3 months she dropped 80 pounds, 140 pounds over the course of a year. If you want to lose weight and keep it off, you must find the root cause of what is going on. And finally, number 3, a mistake that so many people make is they try to deprive themselves thin. Nobody wants to stick with that. A mistake that most people make is simply going on a diet. And when most people hear the word diet, they want to run because most people think of diet as, again, deprivation and torture and starvation. Do you want to do that? I sure as heck don't. And so when a person hears the word diet, they automatically think temporary. And so what happens to their results? You guessed it, they end up becoming temporary. This is why more than 80% of people that do end up losing weight gain the weight right back. They deprive themselves thin rather than finding a new, more enjoyable lifestyle. If you want the results to become permanent, you must make the changes in your life permanent. For me, I thought that I had to give up all my favorite foods, and I thought that I had to eat several times per day, and I didn't enjoy that. I always dropped 5, 10, maybe 15 pounds, but that wasn't something I wanted to do long term. It wasn't until I found a system that actually was more enjoyable for me, that worked great with my schedule, with my eating habits, with my preferences, that the change became permanent for me. My invitation to you is, number 1, find out exactly what your body needs in order to release weight the fastest way possible. Focus on transforming and becoming rather than simply learning and doing. And of course, find a way to make the process extremely enjoyable. If you really are serious about getting those results and making them permanent, I invite you to join our Facebook group. Go on Facebook and look up Enjoy Yourself Thin and join one of the fastest growing weight reduction groups out there. Our philosophy is, what if the process of slimming down could be much more enjoyable than staying overweight? Could you stick to it? If there was a process of slimming down that allowed you to eat chocolate every single day, or burgers, or pizza, or whatever else that you absolutely love, could you stick to it? Of course! Once you identify exactly what you need and then you make the process something crazy enjoyable, of course you're gonna stick to it because guess what? You now enjoy it. Join us on Facebook. We regularly post tips on how to make the process even more enjoyable. And if you really want to get those results, join our next 12-week challenge. It's totally free to join, and people are getting incredible results. With our last 12-week challenge, our top 3 winners release a total combined amount of 110 pounds. Oh, well, Eric, is that just guys? I mean, is it just much easier for guys to lose weight than it is for women? No. In fact, 2 out of the 3 of our winners were women. No more excuses. It's time to make the process of slimming down permanent. It's time to make the process absolutely enjoyable. Do so by finding us on Facebook. Look up Enjoy Yourself Thin, join one of our next 12-week challenges, and begin your permanent transformation today.